From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One more corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What is up, everybody? It is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Coming up on today's show, a wrap-up of the recruiting weekend, and Corey and I count down 21 to 25 Warchant preseason top 40. Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, Tallahassee, Florida, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, Tallahassee, Florida. CPTallybar.com is the website. Weekday lunch specials, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for only $8.99 on Monday. Build your own burger. Give them the instructions. They'll build it for you. Half-pound Black Angus burger with lettuce, tomato, onion, and pickle, and you get a side dish of your choice. Your options are straight fries, curly fries, onion rings, potato salad, broccoli, side salad, tater tots, or freshly cooked potato chips. Check it out, Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Plenty more on that menu that you would love, but that's the lunch special on Monday. That's how it gets down. Don't forget tomorrow, Tuesday, trivia night at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminoles sports source. I don't know, maybe the Dad's Day deal's still running, Corey, possibly. $80 for a year, $40 for like half a year. Check it out, warchant.com. If you're not a member, just go to the website. It's a big like neon bar atop the screen. Tap it, click it, do it. Thumbs up as well, 5-star rating and review. Corey Clark, how are you, man?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. I want to give a shout out to Corner Pocket real quick. I was actually on, when was it? Friday night before I came back up to Atlanta. I was at another establishment for a birthday party. It wasn't my choice. Another establishment in town that considers itself a sports bar, let's say.
Huh.
And I'm there probably 7 o'clock on a Friday night thinking, okay, U.S. Open's on.
Mm-hmm.
Might want to watch this while people are opening gifts and stuff. And the TVs, there's like 8 TVs in the place that are turned to golf, and they're all turned to the Golf Channel, which happens to be showing the LPGA Tour at 8 o'clock at night. Which, again, nothing against the LPGA Tour, but U.S. Open's the biggest tournament in our country, right? That or the Masters. And you would have thought that maybe somebody in charge would be like, hey, let's get the U.S. Open on TV. But no, golf is golf, right? Who cares? Right. And they left the LPGA on for probably, well, the whole time, except for the one TV I asked to get turned on. And you would have thought I asked for nuclear codes. It took them so long to figure it out. She came to me and told me, well, we don't have that. I'm like, oh, you don't have the U.S. Open? And she's like, no, the only thing on our guide that says golf is this. I'm like, okay, well, it's on USA Network. And she goes, oh, let me try that. Oh, there it is. Thank you. And then I had bothered her by trying to get the golf on. And the reason I bring that up, Corner Pocket, baby, you ain't got to worry about that at all. Bill had it on the Vegas wall.
Yeah, that's right.
He had the U.S. Open mix where they show feature groups, they show the main group. I'm just saying, if you're looking for the best viewing experience, and that's all that really matters to me when I go to a sports bar. Well, that and the food, and Corner Pocket's second to none there too. But you got TVs with sports on that you care about. That's all I'm saying. So there you go. Shout out to Corner Pocket.
We do mic checks before we start the show, and usually I'm like, all right, Corey, like give me some sauce. Like I need to hear like how you're going to sound when you're making like an emphatic point on the show. And he blew through the levels on the Corner Pocket plug there. So make with that as you wish, everybody. That's how passionate he is about sports bars.
I apologize to everybody's eardrums, but also I would like to say that it wasn't as much it was a impassioned plug for Corner Pocket, but it was also an impassioned anti-plug for every other sports bar in Tallahassee.
All right. Duly noted. Michael Langston coming up later on in the program, again, to talk about recruiting. Not feeling all that great right now, Corey. Apparently this Florida baseball team's pretty good again. So they're cruising and going to the national semifinals. So, but we got 5 guys in the cupboard now, bunch of arms. In Link we trust. Be good, feeling good. Your Bravo's got 6 in a row, so we got that. We got some good vibes on that as well too. So let's carry on with that then. Top 40 time. I don't know if we missed one of the segments, but let's just go ahead. I'm assuming that 21 to 25 is going to be dropping any day now over on warchant.com. We may not have a show tomorrow for you because it is the off season, a little bit slow. We'll have maybe an interview later on this week, but I don't know if it'll air this week with Ross Dellinger of SportsIllustrated.com. I'll be heading out to Louisiana second part of the week, so we'll see how that all goes. Anyhow.
Nice.
All right, let's start at 25, Corey. I've got Marqueston Douglas, a.k.a. Biscuit. We're talking about all these plethora of receiving options. He is the one guy above, most everybody other than Johnny Wilson that has done it here. I didn't see Jaheim Bell do it, but I know that he did. I know they did it. Same thing with Keon Coleman. We saw Marqueston do it. We've seen him grow and blossom, and they surely put him in a lot of situations last year, and he did quite well. So I don't know what we think about 25 for Marqueston. You got him at 30th on your list, but I've got Marqueston Douglas at number 25 on my list.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's about right? I mean, I think anywhere in that range for your backup tight end, and he's a backup only in name. Like, he'll play – wouldn't you think Marqueston will play 35 snaps a game at least?
Yeah,
because I think they'll do a lot of two tight end stuff. I think they'll do stuff where he's on the line of scrimmage and Jaheim's in the slot. I think that Jaheim's going to play a ton, obviously, but I think Marqueston will too. And everybody wanted Morlock to be the guy, and he very well might be. Like, he might end up being awesome. But I thought Marqueston was better in the spring. And I think Marqueston had which isn't really a surprise, right? Like, Marqueston's done this. Morlock is a shorter college the last 2 years. There's probably a little bit of a learning curve. But Marqueston is that size. He's not an incredible athlete, but he's a darn good athlete for 275 pounds. And I think he's a guy you look to in the red zone. Plus, he's a guy that can be essentially another offensive lineman in the running game. But is a good enough passing threat that you can't just say, oh, there's 85 in the line of scrimmage, this is a run.
Yeah.
He's good enough in the passing game that you have to worry about that too. So, yeah, man, I think that's a fair place for him to be.
402 reps last year. He had 6 games where he had 30 or more snaps, and he had 4 starts on the season. So,
yeah,
then we'll see some kind of production along the lines of that. Who do you have at 25, Corey?
I had Greedy Vance.
Ooh, really? You Greedy a lot. That feels maybe undervaluing a guy that you like as much as it seems like you like Greedy Vance.
Probably. It's just that I'm not 100% convinced he's going to start. I think he starts, but what if Azarie is the slot corner? What if Jarian Jones is the slot corner? What if, I think he's going to play a lot. I think he's going to be on the field a lot, but he's probably, Cypress, Dent, Brown, and then Renardo Green. Is Cypress a color?
It's a tree. I don't think it's. I
was going to say, because you got Green and Brown, and then if Cypress was a color, well, you got a colorful secondary here.
The palettes.
But either way, I don't think that. I think he's probably your 5th or 6th defensive back. Like, I had a real hard time. In fact, Jarian Jones was my 26th. So I had a real hard time between those two guys. But he's probably your 5th defensive back at best. And then when you start doing the math there, like, okay, where do I rank my 5th defensive back? Well, he's probably in the top 30, but he's not in the top 10 probably. So that's why. But, man, he was really good at the end of last season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was very good. And if he keeps that up, and he was also good in the spring. And if he keeps that up, then, yeah, man, I might have ranked him way too low.
Maybe it was Jamie Vance. You wouldn't feel as on the fence about it, but like when he's got the name Greedy behind it, it's like, well, this guy can maybe have some real big things happen for him this season. By the way, Cypress, according to Glidden Paint, that's a color they've got. Benjamin Moore's got a Cypress green. So
okay. I'm just saying.
Workshop it, Corey. Workshop it.
I'm going to try to think of something. Gang. Is Azarie a color?
I'll have to check.
Okay. All right. We'll
send IT on it. 24, Dimitri Emanuel over here. I put Dimitri Emanuel at number 24. I had him really, really high on my list last year. He's your starting guard, I think. Yeah, that's all I got. He's just solid. You don't hear his name. You don't hear his number called out. You don't hear any penalties seemingly on number 71 or whatever number he's donning this season. So I think, that's got to get you up close to the top 20 when you're a starter. But again, you're a guard, so it's kind of tough to quantify that. But I like what he brings. Glad that everything worked out and he got the extra year.
Yeah, and I have him a little higher than this, than you do. But again, I'm not going to repeat it. I'm going to keep repeating this for every time we do one of these segments. But it's just so hard to rank these linemen because I'm not convinced he's going to start. I think he probably will, but I just don't know. Like last year, I knew Dylan Gibbons was going to start. I knew Maurice Smith was going to start. I don't really know that about any of these guys. So with that said, I still ranked him a little higher than you, but it's hard to rank somebody like that number 9.
Right.
Or number 8. He might lose his job. Casey Roddick might beat him out. Byers might beat him out. Who knows? But anyway, you can't argue with that. Dimitri Emmanuel belongs up there. What a great problem to have again. Really experienced guy. What a great bit of news for Florida State to make sure that he was coming back. To get him for an extra year when you weren't sure you were going to get him. That's a really big deal. Mine is Gilbert Edmond for 24.
Okay.
Again, I think he's your third defensive end, and I think he's going to be very important because you can't play Verse and Peyton 85 snaps a game. Also, I do think you need kind of a bigger guy than Peyton at times. You're going to need like a Derek McClendon, frankly. A guy that's not spectacular, but is solid and isn't going to embarrass you and is not going to get run over, can hold the edge a little bit, maybe make a play or two here or there, and is really experienced, and that's what this guy is. He's an experienced veteran defensive end. You don't have a lot of them. You really only got 2. And one of them is a year out from Albany, and the other guy's a year out or 2 years out from high school. So you don't have a ton of experience in that position room. Gilbert Edmond is obviously the oldest guy in there, and he's the most experienced, and I think he's going to be a nice addition to this team, but I don't have him any higher because I didn't see enough in the spring to convince me he was going to be a difference maker. He might just be a plug-in solid play guy, but not a difference maker. But still, top 25, nothing wrong with that.
I feel like you bait and switched on me with this one because I feel like a lot of the things that you just said in the latter part of your assessment was the way I felt. It just kind of like I didn't see a lot of flash, didn't notice him often. We didn't hear the coaching staff necessarily single him out or anything along the lines of that. But to the first part of your point, it's like, man, if you're the number 3 defensive end for this defense, like, man, you're going to stumble into some plays, right? I got McClendon's stats here in front of me. He played over 500 snaps last year.
Yeah.
256 in pass rush situations. Let's just pare it down to 200. I just think I think he actually produced at a little higher clip than Derek McClendon did last year as well when it comes to pressuring the quarterback. So just feel like, he's going to probably be a pretty impactful player. I don't know if
I just don't I think this is kind of where and he could be. Like he showed flashes now in the spring of being that frame, the athleticism, there's some stuff there. It hasn't really materialized into a ton of plays in the backfield throughout his career. But there were moments in the spring where you're like, okay, I see that. And I just think this is kind of where I would have ranked Derek McClendon. Right around this area. Like he's your third defensive end. If he gives you 10 tackles for loss and 2.5 sacks or 4.5 sacks, I think that gets you in the top 25, but not any higher. But it's still a very important part of this. We're getting to the point now where there's 85 guys on the team. So you're talking about the top 25 most important players on the entire football team. So there's no shame in being 24. I just didn't see enough to put him in my top 20 or my top 15. But again, maybe by the end of the year, he becomes a huge factor on this football team.
He certainly has the runway to do it, man. He's going to have maybe more opportunity than any of these newcomers to really kind of make an impact. So we'll see if it can all work out for him. Let's keep it with you, Corey. Then what about number 23? Who you got at 23?
Bless Harris. Again, okay. I think he has a chance to start at right tackle. He had a good spring. He was the starter last year against Duquesne to start the season. It is not going to be easy. He is not going to be handed this job. He's going to have to win it, and that's what makes this difficult. But I do think if he doesn't start at right tackle, I think he will start. If he doesn't start the season, I do think he's going to play a pivotal role one way or the other because, look, say Byers beats him out for right tackle, but then say Dimitri Emmanuel gets banged up. And Byers has to move to guard, and then Bless Harris moves to right tackle and starts there. Like that's the kind of versatility you have here with this guy, and I just think he's going to be, again, a very important part of the offense. It's just hard to gauge exactly how important because I'm not 100% convinced he'll start. And I feel like he's probably one of the last few on this entire list for both of us where we're not 100% sure they're going to start or play a lot. Like there is a scenario, right? There's a world where Bless Harris plays 25 snaps this season. Right. It probably won't happen. Yeah. But if he loses the tackle job and then whoever beats him out, presumably Byers, doesn't get hurt, well, Bless Harris might not play a lot. So that's why he's a little lower than he probably should be.
Okay. For me, number 23 on my list, Jarian Jones.
There you go.
J-Dub.
Like
J-Dub, 2 J's, double J, W,
Yeah.
J-Dub. I mean, I don't know if I attacked it probably the proper way, ranking a lot of these guys. I think you had a much more kind of cohesive vision here. You're looking at certain positions, and you're kind of ranking them within that position group and then figuring out how they fit into your overall top 40. I just kind of wrote 1 to 40 and started putting guys in slots, and this just kind of felt right. Really like I think Renardo is obviously entrenched as a cornerback, and then everybody else, it's a pretty big competition there for who's going to fill the rest of these roles. I think Jarian could possibly overtake Fentrell Cypress. I don't even know if the overtaking is the right verb, because maybe he came out of spring ahead of him still. So I know Fentrell Cypress is the big shiny new toy, all ACC kind of stuff. But I mean, Jarian, if you look at what he did kind of the second half of the year starting against Clemson, he had 2 games where he graded out over 70 on PFF, and then he did not grade out below 64 the rest of the way there. So again, that's, only really average when you're talking about low 60s, but he had a 67 against Miami, a 65 against Oklahoma. In very limited action against Oklahoma. So I think Jarian finally, man, it just has to click now, man. He's been here long enough. He's been healthy for long enough. I just think that this is now kind of maybe his time to finally grab a position and take hold of it. So I got Jarian Jones at number 23.
Yeah, and also I thought it clicked pretty good at the end, like you were talking about, at the end of last year, and I thought he was good in the spring. Mm-hmm. So there's no reason to think he won't be a big part of the secondary this year.
22, who you got, Corey?
I got Joshua Farmer. He's still here. He's still in Tallahassee, everyone. He did it. And look, he's probably he comes into the season as your 4th defensive tackle. Again, we have still not heard on Darrell Jackson. We're assuming when we talk about all this, at least when I talk about all this, it's assuming that Darrell Jackson has gotten the waiver and is going to be on this team. He's probably your number 4 defensive tackle. But I also think there's a scenario where he might be, we'll see, the best the best backup defensive tackle in the country. Like, that's how impressive he was at times in the spring. And if he continues that leap, that accelerated leap, then, man, you can't put a price tag on getting dominant reps or semi-dominant reps from a backup defensive tackle playing 31 snaps a game. It gives that center and those guards no break. It's like, Zero's finally out of the game. No, who is this guy? Like, it reminds you of what it was like in the 90s when Jerry Johnson would go out of the game and Corey Simon would come into the game. Now, again, I'm not predicting these guys are NFL early round draft picks like those guys were, but that's the kind of front 4 you could have, especially in the interior, and that's why I think he's so important and so valuable. I think there's a chance, if he's as good as I think he is or could be, there's a chance Jackson stays healthy or gets the waiver, Fisk gets healthy, Fabian Lovett stays healthy. There's a chance this is the best defensive tackle quartet in the United States, and he's a big part of that.
VitaminEnergy.com. Energy with benefits, tastes great, supports weight loss, 7 hours, probably even more of energy because it's just that strong and potent. They got a thermogenic fat burner energy shot, a triple action immunity plus energy shot. By the way, thanks everybody out there for helping make Vitamin Energy Immune Plus America's #1 selling immune shot. Super Vitamin Mood Energy Shot. They've got Workout Plus energy shots and Electrolyte Enhanced Energy Shot. These are all different brands, different varieties of vitamin energy. You can try the variety pack, and you can get it for free when you buy an item of equal or lesser value and use the promo code WARCHANT BOGO, B-O-G-O. Gluten-free, zero sugar, always non-GMO, made in America, always kosher. VitaminEnergy.com. They got Noles behind them. Support the cause. Promo code WARCHANT BOGO, B-O-G-O. Buy one, get one free. Shake it and take it. VitaminEnergy.com. All right, we're at number 22. Corey, I've got Lawrence Toafili at 22. I think when my first draft came out, I might have him a little bit lower, and then I heard you on my shoulder just kind of talking about, man, what they can do with him out the backfield, and he's probably going to be the number 2 running back. I don't know if I totally buy all of that, but I just felt like it would maybe be a disservice if I put Toafili like outside the 25. So I think like at 22, we're talking about starters on both sides of the ball. Not necessarily think he will be a starter, but just maybe he'll have the caliber of impact that a starter has that you want, at least at 22. So I got Lawrence Toafili.
Yeah, I mean, last year he ran for, 5 yards a carry, 457 yards, and he also had 24 catches for 268 yards. So you're talking about a guy that combined for over 700 yards of total offense, 6 touchdowns. I mean, he is a really important weapon, especially the way Norvell runs his offense and trying to get mismatches with running backs on linebackers or running backs on slow safeties. They do a really good job coming out of the backfield and getting them involved in that game. And he's just, I think he's one of the best in the United States at it, at that part of being a running back. Plus, didn't he seem to you to take a really important step last year as a running back?
How so?
Some tough
running?
yards in the middle. Not just a guy that went outside. He got some tough yards. He would lower his head. I specifically remember a couple of runs. I know they lost the game, but in the NC State game, he had some tough first down runs. He wasn't just kind of a wild card, flashy, get him on the perimeter type of back. He also did some of the tough stuff too. I just think he's going to be and he should be better than ever, stronger than ever, faster than ever. So I think he could be a real weapon for them this year. So I've got no issue with that. I've got him a little higher than that, not much. Just because, again, now we're getting to the part of the list where all these guys are, frankly, all these guys are potential NFL players. But I'm not saying they're all going to be there clearly, but they're all potential starters. A few of them are going to be stars, and more than a few will be NFL players. So, but man, I got you. I'm there with you, buddy.
Number 21, I got Gilbert Edmond. Just he's going to have to fall into some plays. Just the physics of it all. It's just the way it's going to have to work out. Probably should have went and looked at his I think raw number-wise, conventional stats, I think he had more tackles for loss. I think he had more sacks. But then look at the PFF numbers, Corey, from last year. Gilbert Edmond, 329 pass rush snaps, 21 pressures. Derek McClendon, 256 pass rush snaps, 29 pressures. Yeah. So by those numbers, by those metrics, Derek McClendon was a more efficient, more productive defensive end in terms of disrupting the pocket. So, again, I would have preferred to have Derek McClendon. I think this spot was probably reserved for Derek McClendon, and the fact that he's not here, I'm just like, well, I'm going to put Gilbert Edmond in here because I just thought McClendon being in this system, just being more comfortable with the calls and the guys he's playing against and the talent he's going up against and these teams and the scouting would probably be a little bit further ahead than Gilbert Edmond, but hopefully there's some urgency to Gilbert Edmond in terms of, you're draft eligible, go out and earn it. You're going to have some really good guys in front of you weakening up the competition, so you should be able to come in there and get some nice snaps and some nice productive reps for the team. So I got him at 21. Who do you got at 21, Corey?
I've got Maurice Smith.
My man.
Again, he's probably going to be the starter. I would be stunned if Alex Atkins went away from he loves Maurice Smith with good reason. Maurice Smith's welcomed all comers. Every year they bring in other linemen. He just stays. He plays banged up. He started forever. He's the anchor of Alex Atkins' offensive line. And to Alex Atkins' mind, probably the anchor of the offense. And if somebody beats him out, will have really, really earned it. When he starts, he is a good center. He is a good college center. He's not one of the best in the country. He's not one of your best offensive linemen. He's your best center, though, probably, I guess, perhaps. But that's why I have him a little lower. I do think he's going to start, but I think he's proven to be a capable college offensive lineman. I don't know how much better he can get. He's gotten a little bigger. He's still not quite big and strong enough for me. But it's hard to argue with the results, right, man? Yeah. I guess I'm trying to explain why a guy that's at the anchor of the offensive line and such an important piece, I have him at 21. But that's why. I don't know about his long-term projection. I don't know that he's a great college football player, but he is a solid one, and he is very important for this football team. And again, no shame in being 21. Now in 2020, there would have been shame. But now, 2023, with all this talent and all these guys, when you guys look at these lists on Warchant and you see who's in front of them, you understand it's a really loaded team.
He graded out at 54 in 2019, 55 in 2020, 50.6 in 2021. Last year, let's just round it up, 51 in 2021. He graded out at 68 last year.
Yeah.
So significant jump. Especially pass blocking, he graded out at over 72. That's very good. And he's played over 2,000 snaps. And then I can't really add anything else to what you said just about how long he's been here, what he's gone through, what he's played through. love the heck out of that pick with Maurice, man. Good way to cap off 21 through 25. Yeah, and I'd be, golly, other than like, I shouldn't say that. I mean, there's so many other guys. But he's one of the guys, if he doesn't start, I would be so shocked.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But if he doesn't, let's say Roddick does beat him out. Man, Roddick must be awesome. That's the way you got to look at it, folks. Like,
absolutely.
If Alex Atkins chooses anybody on earth over Maurice Smith is his guy, man. I think he views Maurice Smith almost like a GA. Like, that's his guy. For him to lose that job would mean Casey Roddick has had an incredible. And look, man, they did this in the spring. We'll see what they're doing in August. Maybe they give up on the Roddick at center dream, or maybe he really competes for that job. But if he wins that job, or if anybody else knocks off Maurice Smith, will they have really earned it? Because they love that guy at center. Right. And that's good that he went up. I'm glad you said that because he was better last year.
Oh, yes.
He was better. He still wasn't an all-ACC caliber center, in my opinion, but he got so much better. I guess there's no reason he can't continue to do that. And maybe this year his PFF grade is in the high 70s or 80s, and he does become one of the best centers in the conference or the country.
Yeah. I like how you mentioned, too, about if he doesn't start, it's going to be because someone is going to have to earn it, and you're going to have to be kind of really happy about where you're at that position. Maybe not happy for Maurice, but you'll have to be really happy where you're at that position because – again, this goes back to us being able to see practice, right, Corey? And it being so transparent that there's so many kind of personnel decisions that would be made on by a coaching staff here previously, and you're like, how is this guy starting? You know, like there's got to be somebody better ahead of him. Like if Maurice is out there starting, like you full well know that he's got this thing down locked pat, and if for some reason he is not, you can trust this staff. You can trust what we've seen at practice, and they're probably reporting to you that whoever it is going to look significantly better than Maurice, and you're in that much better position going into the season. So, good times covering the Noles. Let's get Michael Langston on the program here to talk recruiting. But first, mybookie.ag. I don't know who won the U.S. Open. I don't think any of the guys we picked, though, right, Corey? Who won the U.S. Open? I don't even know.
Well, as we're recording this, we don't know.
What? Still?
No. Yeah, still. Clark and McElroy.
It's Los Angeles. That's
Clark,
right.
My namesake, coming down to the wire. He's got a one-shot lead, but he's getting a little tight here coming down the stretch, and he's only one shot ahead of McElroy. So my man Scheffler is in third.
Okay.
Now he's 3 shots back with 1 to play, so he's probably not going to win. But also, we told you not to go with our gambling picks in golf.
Right.
Stay with the NBA. We don't know what we're talking about in golf. We tried, but we were wrong.
Victor Wembanyama, number 1 overall pick. Bet on that one, everybody.
What is that? Minus 20,000 is what I heard. So you could bet $20,000 to win 100.
Jeez, golly.
Hey, man, just throwing that out there.
Yeah. Use the promo code WARCHANT over at mybookie.ag where you can bet anything, anytime, anywhere for an instant cash deposit bonus. Odds tightening up on the Noles, Corey. Plus 2150 to win it all a mere 2 weeks ago. Now plus 1,800. Our fans must be just absolutely hammering this using that promo code WARCHANT, and Vegas or Antigua is doing their best to hedge against it. So that's where we're at right now, plus 1,800. They were plus 2,150 like 2 weeks ago. It's crazy, man. So get involved, everybody. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere over at mybookie.ag. Again, that promo code is WARCHANT. Michael Langston talking recruiting coming up right after this. Half dozen official visitors on campus, a camp going on as well. Let's start with those official visitors. Let's start with the crown prize jewel of the week, maybe this entire class, Charles Lester III, still at a 90.4 on the RPM, the recruiting prediction machine out of Venice High School, recently transferred there from Sarasota Riverview. Michael, who's the guy that was on commit watch? How do you think the visit went? What do you think you took away from it? Where does Florida State stand?
Yeah, there's 90.4%. I think it probably should be higher than that. Personally, I feel really good about my RPM pick for FSU. I felt good going in the visit. I feel better coming out of it. I think it goes back to what I've said all along with Charles. I mean, he's always felt a comfort that's different at FSU. And you sense that again this weekend. I think he knows he's coveted, kind of like Hakeem Williams a year ago. And he knows he's coveted not just from a skill set, but from a locker room guy that you want around in your program. And I think Charles sees that. I think FSU feels that. And I think they sit in a really good spot as he, nears the end of his visit part, and then probably a decision to probably pop after that.
The more you talk to this kid, the more you talk to people around him, just how confident are you that he really will be living up to that 5-star billing when he makes it to the next level?
I think he will. I mean, Charles is very. I mean, Charles could. I wouldn't be locked into that, even that corner position, because I think he's a phenomenal receiver. I mean, I think he could end up playing receiver if he wanted to. If it turns out that he plays that, I think for FSU they just want him. Whether he where he's on the field, I don't think they really care. But I think he's a top-notch corner, and I think maybe even a better receiver. That's how highly I think of him. But it's an incredible athlete and a credible kid that you get inside your program. There's certain kids that impact your program, and I think Lester would be that guy that really makes other people better, just of who he is and the way he plays. And I feel pretty good about where things sit.
All right, let's go into the trenches here. This might be like my favorite profile photo of the recruiting class right here. We're talking about Goshen, Mississippi product Bryson Hurst. Large human being, mean, scary-looking dude. Yeah, look at that. That's the guy I want protecting my quarterback, a guy I want opening holes for my running backs. Bryson Hurst is currently, I guess, pegged possibly for the JUCO route, Michael.
Right.
Currently in JUCO. This is his recruiting profile from the previous recruiting cycle that he was involved in. 6'5", 338 is what he was listed at the first go around. How'd he look? He was on campus working out during the camps, Michael.
He looks so much better than when I saw him in high school. Not that he looked terrible, but he looks so much better. He's 6'7", 327 from what he was telling me. Body frame was you kind of expect that though. When you go to JUCO, you're going to look better. You're going to be more your body's matured more, and I think his body frame just looked incredible. I was very impressed with him. Did some position stuff workout. Did some stuff with Atkins. Didn't do one-on-ones, which there was really no need to. But I think everything seemed to click. Quick feet, quick hands, all the stuff you're looking for from a very talented offensive lineman. I think that's a guy they're gonna pursue. I think he's a guy that they like a lot, and they don't usually go JUCO offensive lineman. I think this one's a little unique situation because there's a previous relationship with Bryson and Atkins. They know each other from the high school when FSU recruited him. I think certainly he fits the mold of what FSU likes and what they look for. And he told me point blank, like, look, if I had a top 5, they would definitely be in it, and I would definitely be. I'm going to take an official visit there. So it sounds like the interest is ramped back up with him, even with him go the JUCO route. But I think certainly FSU likes him. I think he even said like FSU didn't know I was in the portal from when he went to Ole Miss, but he is, and he's the guy that, and I think you will see them pursue, and certainly he had a really good day just watching him work out. But I was so impressed, just the body fat that he trimmed down and toned up with his body is really impressive.
Let's keep it on the trenches other side. Prep product out of Texas, Duncanville, and that's not, I don't call it a pipeline, but obviously a lot of connections there with Chris Thompson, the staff. Alex January on campus, maybe some high hopes as he arrived on campus. How do you think he felt walking out of Tallahassee after his stint here?
Yeah, it was a few things. Obviously, he hung out a lot with Jarrell Powers and Jalen Early. Both of them are former teammates. They went to Duncanville as well. You got that sense. The one red flag for me was like he didn't mention anything about defensive tackles that he hung out with during the weekend. He just mentioned mainly those guys. So it made me feel like, okay, if that's happening, then there probably wasn't a lot of feeling that FSU was going to pull going to pull this out. And he just didn't give you the warm and fuzzies when you listen to him talk about the visit. There was certain parts that he forgot about what they did and stuff like that, and that leads to me with when I read body language like that. It's like, okay, you're not engaged into the visit the way that probably you hope. So I think he probably ends up at Texas or somewhere else. I don't think it's going to be FSU, but that's kind of the vibe I got coming out of the visit.
All right. You can't win them all. Let's keep it with 2024 products. 3-star defensive back Kevin Levy on campus, Michael, visiting, checking things out. You able to catch up with him and hear his thoughts on his time here in Tallahassee?
Yeah, it was really good. I think everything clicked really. I mean, this is a kid they liked a lot. I've said that in my little nuggets last night on late night nuggets about the visits and stuff like that. I think this is a guy they've really coveted throughout the process. I learned something new about Kevin. I didn't know his cousin is actually Ricky Knight, who also visited officially with FSU. So I kind of learned that. It's kind of new. But Kevin's a guy that I felt like, and I said this in my wrap, that I felt like FSU's the leader. I certainly feel strongly about that. I think they are the leader. I think they covet him. He's a take. I think they will likely get him from everything I've heard. So I think it just went really well. And this he's from Cardinal Newman. He's a guy that they just they followed and they've studied and they've gone out there and done a lot of background with him as far as if this is a fit to their program. And I think while he's listed as a 3-star, I don't think they view him that way. I think they think really highly of this kid, and I think he's probably likelihood is he's probably going to be in the class if I had to go off intel right now. So I think he's a guy that they feel fits right in there. Kind of reminds me a lot of how the Kevin Noles recruitment was coming out of high school. Reminds me of that. Explosive playmaker, but didn't get a lot of pub. I think Kevin was like a 3-star most of the time. And so this kind of reminds me of that. Just makes plays everywhere, receiver, DB, and FSU's just fallen in love with this guy, and they just want to get him. And so it will be interesting to see if they do get him, what did they do with Ricky Knight from there? So if they push, so we'll see.
According to his huddle page, Michael, he's a 100-meter state champ, ran a 10.6. And the 200, he ran a 21.5, and he's also part of a 4x100 state champion relay team. So sounds like a speedster. That'll hunt.
Athletic, he does a lot of different things. Like I said, you see a lot of these highlights are receiver, and he gets separation. He knows what DBs want to do, and then when he's at DB, he knows what receivers want to do because he's played it. So I think he's just a natural playmaker when you watch his film and break it down. I've broken down him for probably a few months now, and he's a guy that I've heard more and more about from my FSU intel. And I know going into this official visit weekend, they really wanted to nail everything with the relationships, get him around the players. They really were treating him like a guy that, just as important as guys like Charles Lesser. They wanted him, and they certainly put in the effort and the work to do it.
All right, so there's updates on all the guys that were here on official visits. There's also individual camps going on, Michael. Any standouts? You don't have to go over all of them, but maybe one or two you want to touch on real quick, and I'll let people know what's over on the website.
Yeah, we have a really good story coming up on 2025 4-star linebacker Elijah Barnes. He did not participate. I get the feeling that FSU is the leader there. Another guy that's a talented guy is 4-star athlete Cameron Sparks. He did work out. He was very impressive. I think FSU's in a very close battle with Tennessee there. And then there was several other ones, several Booker T. Washington players that really jumped out to me. Antonio Branch was very impressive. I thought Ben Hanks, who's the son of Ben Hanks that played at Florida. So I think those are a few of the guys. I'm not going to go over every single one of them because there's a bunch on there you can read. We've already got the observations up. You can kind of break it down and everyone can look at it. But some very good talent. I would say, Aslan, this is the most impressive individual camp by far of anyone they've had. I think previously they had 60 kids at some of these things, but today was very impressive. They had around 160. Really good. A lot of talent, a lot of depth. And then for those that are wondering, yes, we have one more camp left, the big man camp on the 21st, and that will be the final camp. And that will be a big man camp / 7-on-7 tournament. So I've heard it's going to be a major event. Going to be a lot of teams. I've heard up to 50 teams that are going to be there. So I think it's going to be a big event. But yes, people can read all our stuff, have great stuff from Matt Lassier, from me about the whole day official visitors camp. You can go on the PRB or you can go to the front page of Warchant. Don't forget to hit the like button before you go out, guys. And I think that covers it all.
That's right. And also shout out to Luke Cromanhawk finishing 4th over the Elite 11 camp. His diary. Check that out. It's still evergreen. It's over on warchant.com. Michael, as always, man, thanks for the information.
Anytime.
All right, thanks to Michael. Before we go out, Corey, you wrote a couple stories on the interviews that we did on Thursday. We didn't talk about it on the show at the end of last week because I don't know if we recorded on Thursday. I don't even remember. But maybe 4 of the more under-recruited, and I don't even know what under-recruited really means. If Florida State was on them, then they were recruited just enough. But I guess maybe not the most highly touted parts of this freshman class. Ashlyn Barker, obviously a JUCO transfer. But, man, all these guys won me over. Just an extremely pleasant group of guys to talk to. I started formulating this theory in my head about, I'm like, would Mike Norvell have recruited, 80% of the 2013 roster? Like, would he have gone after those guys? Like, would he have been like Jalen Ramsey, I like you, I want you to be part of my football team? Because all these guys are so likable, and Jalen's likable in his own special, unique way. But Chris Otto, amazing human being, large human being. At first, like his headshot on the website, I'm like, this guy? What are we doing, Alex Atkins? But he's a well-put-together young man. Like, physically, looks like he could probably run some reps on the second team. It was probably a good scout performer, at least in the first half of the season. What did you take away from the young men that we spoke to? Dylan Brown-Turner, Ashlyn Barker, Chris Otto, and Edwin Joseph.
Yeah, man, I Otto especially, I would encourage everyone to go watch that video. You're really going to like that kid. He's very bright. He's very engaging, personable, from Key West. His favorite movie is Shawshank.
Yes.
Which, I mean, what a way to warm yourselves up to a bunch of 45 to 55-year-old men telling them your best. You might as well have said you love Springsteen, too.
Right.
I mean, good grief. What a great way. I don't even know if he might have ever seen the movie, but what a great thing to say to get ingratiated to a fan base. I was really impressed with Otto. Like you said, all the guys really. Now I will say this, going back to what you said a second ago, Norvell, if Jalen Ramsey showed interest in Florida State and Norvell's like, I don't know, you're not really my kind of guy. That's fired with cause. I mean, come on, man. Like, you still got to go get the Jalen Ramseys of the world. You can develop the cool kids from Key West that are film majors. I'm all for that life, too. But, no, you need to go get the Jalen Ramseys. But, yeah, I mean, you when you talk to these guys, again, I don't want to oversell it. They're always going to be pretty nice to us because there's cameras on. And it's a weird environment for them to be sitting at a podium taking questions from people our age. It's just an odd thing. So it would be odd if they were surly. But, man, they are really likable. That is a really likable group of guys. We'll see if they can play. That's what matters more than anything. But you can understand when Norvell talks about trying to get the right fit, not just on the football field, but in the locker room. It sure seemed like they hit home runs with those guys.
Yeah, and self-deprecating humor I'm always a fan of. I liked Otto saying that, Princeton was after him, and he was really flattered by the offer. Didn't think it was maybe he's a smart kid, considers himself smart, but not Princeton smart. Right. So that was really endearing. And Dylan Brown-Turner, I thought, had a really good interview up there, kind of outlining why he went under the radar in recruiting. He had a leg injury his junior year, which I think kind of lingered into last season as a senior, so that's always going to trip you up a little bit. And then, I mean, shoot, he probably started his career out when COVID was happening, so nobody's able to really get out there and check him out. He's another kid that looks pretty well put together. And linebacker is a spot that they could surely use any kind of help, so why not take a shot on a kid from a really good program out there in Texas? And then, Edwin Joseph, also a guy that can maybe help you out. And Ashlyn Barker is a guy that, has a really interesting story, being from Columbus, Georgia, wanting to go Power 5 out of high school, but not really getting any kind of offers because he went, I guess, to one of the less successful high schools in Columbus, the other one. I don't even know what it is. Ends up betting on himself in JUCO. Now he's here with a real potential to help out a team that's preseason top 7 or 8. When are those going to start coming out, Corey? Once we're done with the preseason top 40, we'll need the preseason AP poll and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, that's probably middle of August. But still, I'm saying preseason top 10.
I feel like
I honestly think they're going to be preseason top 5.
I think so. 7. I'm going to go in the middle. I
think they're going to be 5. I think it's going to be Georgia, Alabama,
Ohio State,
USC, Florida State.
Or maybe Michigan instead of Ohio State.
Oh, yeah, Michigan, yeah. So maybe, Michigan gets in there. So, I think USC with Caleb Williams and, Lincoln Riley, I think they're probably ahead of you. Maybe Florida State ahead of Ohio State, but that would be cool. When's the last time Florida State started the season ranked ahead of Ohio State? Been a minute, folks. It's been a minute. But either way, they'll be in the top 5 or 6.
Awesome. All right, we're done then.
Oh, I have something to complain about before we leave.
Do it.
As you folks are listening to this, almost assuredly, you early risers, and we love it that we're here. We're here for you when you wake up and you're on your way to work at some ungodly hour. Well, Corey Clark's on his way to a baseball tournament at some ungodly hour on a Monday morning,
What?
Aslan, because For the first time all season, Brady's team was a pretty good team, but they play in some stacked tournaments. They actually won both of their bracket play games on Sunday, on Father's Day. And my Father's Day present for that was they play at Monday morning at 8 a.m. an hour away.
Oh
so
my
me and Brady
gosh.
have to be out the door at 6 in the morning
on
a Monday, fighting Atlanta traffic to go play in a semifinal of a baseball tournament at East Cobb. So, but Brady had a good tournament, just like the well, I don't know how this is going to end. The Clark that's currently playing in a more important tournament. Brady's had a good tournament so far, so that's been good to see. And yeah, it's cool that they won. But yeah, I'm not going to say I was rooting for his team to lose that last game on Sunday, so I didn't have to get up at 6 in the morning. But you guys know me. You guys know what Corey was hoping for, but it didn't work out. His team won 5-0.
Are you going like at least against the grain, or are you going into the teeth of Metro Atlanta traffic? Like, you're not going into the heart of the city, but no one, I guess, really.
I mean, I'm going towards the heart of the city to
okay.
then get on 285, which is always a parking lot. So I'll be honest with you, Aslan, I don't know the last time I got up and had to deal with Monday morning traffic on 285. So I might not get there till the fourth inning. He might just pinch run. I have no idea what I'm getting in for, but I am not leaving any earlier than 6 o'clock because I'm a grown man. I'm an adult. And if he gets there late, he gets there late. I'm sorry.
Oh, man. The sacrifices some make and others choose not to.
Amen, brother.
Hope you had a good Father's Day with Brady, though, at least, big guy.
I did. Thank you. He got me a Dale Murphy shirt.
Oh, all right.
Nice. Yeah, it was thoughtful, too. He actually put some thought behind it, so I was happy about that.
Was it Father's Day / birthday present?
It was. Yes, it was. So he didn't give me anything. He didn't. Well, no, it hadn't arrived yet by the time my birthday, but it got here in time for him to give it to me for Father's Day. So it all worked out. And then his birthday, he turns 15 on Tuesday.
Gotcha.
15 years old.
I think I might have called him Chris Otto. I think we might be calling him Andre Otto now. So I don't know. I just saw one of our stories has Andre Otto in it, so just wanted to clarify that because he's a nice kid. Whatever you want to be called, Mr. Otto, you're the man. You're the man now, dog.
Automatic is what we're going to call him.
Hey. All right, Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 3 o'clock. He and Tom Lane talking Florida State and everything else under the sun comes to sports. 93.3 FM, as well as Warchant TV. That is our YouTube channel, which you should be subscribed to. It's absolutely free. Thumbs up on the way out, 5-star rating and review. We'd appreciate it. Don't forget Seminole headlines going down on Tuesday, too. So everything going on over at warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Join us. It's awesome. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. And for Michael, thank you for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.